So what do we got here?
Saddle that was used by Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves.
All right.
There's got to be a lot of women who'll pay a lot of money for something that's touched Kevin Costner's hind end. I'm going into the pawn shop today. I'm going to try and sell my saddle. Yeah, I'm not a cowboy, I don't ride horses, but I'm a big fan of Kevin Costner's, and when I seen this saddle and he'd rode on it, I had to have it.
So how'd you get this thing?
I bought it at an auction, caught my interest. I'm a big Kevin Costner fan, so.
All right, do you get any paperwork saying it's from the movie?
Well, I got a card from the movie house and a few pictures.
All right.
The people at the auction house assured me that this was an original saddle that had been used from the movie.
Well, the problem is I don't see any, you have nothing written here. I mean, all you have here is some pictures of some people, looks like the Civil War. I don't know if it's a reenactment or a different movie, but I just see nothing here with Kevin Costner. They
assured the buyers that this was a saddle that had been used in Dances with Wolves.
There's nothing here that proves that Kevin Costner's hind end sat on it.
Well, we could do a DNA test for some.
Nah. I mean, the weird thing about this is it looks like a U.S. military-issued saddle. I mean, this is the style they had between the Civil War and I believe like World War I, turn of the century. It might be really, really old. I mean, if you look at this ring right here, this isn't modern welding right here. You can tell how this is like forged. So what interests me right now is this could have been used in the movie, but this might have been sitting in a prop house for the past 100 years.
Hollywood prop houses are massive warehouses, and they often made props out of original items. I don't know if this thing was in Dances with Wolves, but this saddle does appear to be old U.S. military. This thing could be worth a lot of money either way.
So you got two things that could make it worth money. It's actually a U.S. military issue saddle, and was it used in the movie? I mean, it's sort of a conundrum at the moment, because if it's both, it's even worth more. I would really like someone to check this out for me.
Well, as long as the expert's seen Dances with Wolves.
So let me call my buddy. We'll see what we can do.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I know if we get somebody that knows what he's talking about, we get the expert in here, he's going to say, yeah, this is the real thing and it's worth the money. I'm okay.
My name is Mark, and I'm an expert in Western memorabilia. What I love about Western memorabilia, it's part of the history of our country and American culture. Well, it's definitely a military saddle. It's a McClellan saddle, developed in 1859 before the Civil War. The thing that kind of bothers me about this is not leather covered. Now, if you were riding this, 8 or 10 hours a day, see all these screws along here?
Okay.
And all the rawhide stitching that goes through here, your butt would be sore and your legs would be red. The other thing on here, it says 12-inch seat. This is a very, very small seat for a human being to sit in. So it leads me to believe that this is a pack saddle. And you can see by all the holes and stuff for straps and the rings and loops and stuff on here, they could put a lot of different accessories on here. They have bedrolls, canteens, scabbards, all kinds of equipment.
So was this used in the movie Dances with Wolves?
Well, I'd seen the movie many times, but when you called, I watched it again. But this time I watched and looked at every saddle in the movie. And the movie was very authentic. In fact, one of the most authentic Westerns, they've made in a long time. They paid attention to details. And I can honestly say this saddle was not in the movie.
They said for sure this was from Dances with Wolves.
In my opinion, it wasn't. There is no rawhide treed saddles in that movie.
But you can't say for sure this wasn't in the movie.
I can say for sure, because every saddle in there had black leather on it. I don't think it was used in the movie Dances with Wolves. No ifs, ands, or Kevin Costner's butts. But in authenticating something as being used by a specific person, you need more documentation than just an auctioneer's word saying this came from such and such a movie. You need a letter, you need serial numbers that match, things like that.
So what do you think this thing is worth?
Well, if it was a formal McClellan military saddle and had the full cover on it and everything, they're selling for around $1,000.
Okay.
But in this condition, missing some of the parts and not covered, I'd say 400, 500 maybe at the most.
Okay.
Do you remember, it's still a 100-year-old artifact. It's still a collectible piece.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you. Good luck. Bye.
I had a feeling it wasn't in the movie Dances with Wolves, but I also had a feeling it was real, and because of that, I want it.
Okay, so how much do you want for it?
Well, I'd let it go for $750.
Okay, it would have been worth $750 if Kevin Costner's derriere was on it.
I still believe it was.
How about $250?
Yeah, I can't let it go for that. I paid more than that for it, and I mean, I'm sure it is still authentic, even though we couldn't get that verified. Can you go 400?
I'll go 300. I mean, if I give you 300 bucks, I'm gonna make 100, 150 bucks. That's the most I'm gonna make. I'm not making a fortune off you.
All right, well, you got a deal, $300.
All right, let's go do the paperwork, man.
I got 300, it's less than I paid for it, but my wife's gonna be really disappointed when she finds out that she hasn't been that close to Kevin Costner signed in.
Hey, gentlemen.
So you got some movie props, huh?
We do. Maybe one or two.
So what do we got?
The first item is a gate around the cemetery in the final scene of season 3 of Yellowstone.
Was Kevin Costner in the scene with his fence?
Yes, he was in the exhuming scene of the body.
Your dad would love that.
The second item, this is a shoe shine stand that came out of the oldest barbershop in Austin, Texas when it closed in 1998. It's been used in multiple films, most recently the TV series 1883.
Okay, and tell me about the chair.
This is a very good reproduction using real cow horns of a popular Victorian furniture style that you saw a lot in Texas and the Southwest. This was used for Fear the Walking Dead, and then more recently on the set of 1883.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, what are you looking to get for the fence?
For the wrought iron gate, about $350.
Okay, and the shoe shine situation here?
That I usually place a value of about $2,500.
Okay, and the chair?
About $750.
Okay, so the fence from Yellowstone, I just feel like it's just a little too generic for me. The shoe shine thing, that's a lot of real estate. I am looking for a new chair in my office, though. And I will give you $750 for that chair all day long.
Really?
That is definitely something I need in my life.
Sounds good to me.
Can't you see me with that as a chair at the office of the pawn shop?
Unfortunately, yes. His nickname is Big Hoss. Sounds like the kind of guy that should be sitting in a horn chair.
Hey, what can I help you with?
Hey, I got this gun, and I want to sell it.
Okay. Where did you get it?
I got it from an old man I got 6 guns from, and I think this is the one that's worth the most.
How much did you pay for it?
I gave 25 bucks for it.
Give me 26 right now.
Oh, no. I'm coming down today to sell my 1890s Colt revolver. I have no use for this gun. I want to sell it today and go out in Vegas and have a good time. I'm hoping to sell this gun for $5,000. The minimum I'll take is $4,000 for it.
Do you know anything about it?
I know it's old. I know it's a Colt, but that's all I know.
What you have here is the original Colt 45. Not the beer in the bottle, but the guns.
Wow.
It was the most high-quality gun you could get. It was the best machining, the best finish work, the best trigger mechanisms, everything. The Colt Single Action Army is a badass gun. It was originally made for the U.S. Army, but it got famous as the weapon of choice in the Old West. They called it the Peacemaker.
So how old is that one?
From the serial number, it looks early 1890s, and they've been making the same gun more or less till today. It does got some wear on it.
Yeah.
That's probably from going in and out of a holster a lot. This gun might be showing some wear, but it's a Colt 45 from the 1890s. These things sell better than just about any antique gun I carry. So what do you want to do with it?
I want to sell it.
And how much do you want for it?
I've been told that it's worth around $5,000.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 2,500 bucks.
There's no way.
I mean, if everything checks out, maybe I can get 3 to 4.
I got to at least have 4 out of it.
Normally, I'd like to call my buddy Sean in before I buy a gun like this, but he's out of town right now. But this gun is in such great condition, I don't see how I could lose money on it. So I need to make a move now, or this thing's gonna walk out the door.
No guts, no glory, dude.
2,800 bucks.
35.
I'll go 3 grand. I'm not gonna go no more. And I give you cash. You can walk right up the street and have a ball at the casino. Probably double your money.
That's what I'm hoping. Well, done.
Okay.
So,
all right, 3 grand. You wanna run them up? This gun is awesome. I should be able to make a couple $1,000 profit on it. But first, I'm dying to take Sean out to the range so we can fire it.
What's going on, Rick?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, look what I bought.
On occasion, Rick calls me in. He's bought something that I wasn't available to help him out with. He just wanted to make sure before he goes to resell it that he's representing it correctly. You said you got something. This isn't just a something. So Rick pulls out this great first-generation Colt single-action revolver. This is what won the West. Everybody knew the Colt. And if you didn't have one, you know, sad for you. Most of these were issued with wood grips. Then whoever it was that ordered this would then get aftermarket bling, which is having pearl grips. And they look like they've been with the gun probably most of its life, so. And the other thing I like is when you look at the muzzle here, it's got honest holster wear. Okay, that's why this section is rounded off. So this was in and out of a holster a lot.
Okay, I mean, it's just the old Colts like that. It seems like every time I buy one, there's always ends up being some little problem.
I mean, somebody may be a little upset that, oh, there's a crack here, you know. Look, it's been there, it did that. These were working man's guns. This was the only protection you had. It's not like you could pick up your cell phone and call 911. This was 911 back in the day.
So what do you think? I paid $3 grand for it.
I think that you're gonna be able to get at least 5.
Nice.
You did well. Everything I'm seeing here, it's right.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. Don't do a thing to it. Leave it alone, sell it as is.
All right, you don't think there'd be a problem shooting it, do you?
I don't think so. Mechanically speaking, this is good to go.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Awesome.
This gun is awesome. I should be able to make a couple $1,000 off it. But first, I'm dying to shoot it.
So who's gonna shoot the bad guy?
I am. I'm the only one that the holster will fit.
Rick was really lucky to have bought a really nice antique single-action Colt. This is the cowboy gun to have. So I wanted to give Rick and the guys a taste of the Old West. Okay, Rick, so here's the scenario. You're the sheriff. You have a bad guy coming at you. You're trying to arrest him. He's resisting arrest. He's pulling a weapon on you. You've got to take matters into your own hands.
Okay, it's like the OK Corral. You got cowboy loads for this thing?
Yep. And this is the difference. Here's a .22 caliber, and here's the .45 that you're going to be shooting.
That's right.
Gonna load it. You got 6 shots. Here comes the bad guy. Rick's got to decide what to do. He's gonna try and arrest him first. The guy is not gonna go down. So Rick's got to take him down first. You scared?
I'm never scared. All right, let's do this.
Get him, Rick! Oh, yeah!
Nice! I think he's a dead bad guy.
Oh, whew!
Nice.
I live to fight another day. Thanks, Uncle Rick.
All right, Rick. Well, you pissed him off here. Got him right on the side. Here, this is one of those shots that you can survive.
You can survive, but you're on the ground.
Oh yeah, you definitely put him down. There's no question. There's actually a mark where you hit him in the arm too.
Good enough.
Definitely. Rick actually did really well. He fired all 6 shots. 3 shots that we did find actually hit the target. So it just goes to show that you could still fire this Colt single-action revolver, even though it was made back in the 1880s.
All right, let's go get some lunch.
You hit him 50% of the time.
Sean said he could live.
This guy's was $1,000 alive, 500 dead.
I'd have hit him on the first try.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
What we got here?
I've got a couple of notes to offer you. First off is a Bison Star Note, and I also have 2 consecutive Chief Notes.
Oh, sweet. The old school large paper money of the United States. This is when we actually made pretty money. And now they just put dead presidents and old guys on it.
I'm here today to sell some really cool and rare old U.S. paper currency. I'm selling the notes to free up some cash and maybe put the money into another investment. I'm a pretty passionate collector. I've been collecting ever since I was a little kid.
These are in incredible shape, too. So where'd you get these things?
I picked them up at a trade show out east.
So these are right around 1901-ish?
This one is from 1901, and this is from 1899.
Okay. Right around when these were printed, there were so many people in rural America, they were never going to be able to get to a museum somewhere and see fine art. So the idea was, let's start putting artful things on the money so people in rural areas could appreciate great American art. Like, you look at this bill right here. You got Lady Columbia. This is a great American Indian chief. You have Lewis and Clark. We have, American bison on it. I mean, it was big, it was bold, it was just pretty.
So much more color, too,
Everything about it's just cool.
Yeah.
It was really a drawn-out process. They used to have real artists who made the money, and it was really hard to counterfeit. One engraver engraved the portrait. A separate engraver would engrave the background of the front, and a third engraver would do the back of the bill. So if someone was going to counterfeit the bill, he'd have to be the world's greatest engraver because he'd have to do 3 different styles.
Really?
Yeah. The bison I rarely get, and this was a star note, which means the printing press screws up somehow or the other, and they got to stop the whole thing, fix what's wrong, and start over again. First bill always has a star.
To my understanding, star notes are considerably rarer than regular issues.
In general, if they have a star, they're always worth more money. These I've had over the years, but I have never had, 2 perfect ones, though. How much are you looking to get out of them?
I'm asking $15,000 for the pair of Chiefs and $15,000 for the Bison, so basically $30,000 for all 3 notes.
Okay. I've seen these notes before. I just never seen them in this kind of shape, so I sort of need a little help with the price.
Okay.
It's nothing I don't trust you. I just don't trust you. I'll be right back. I'm going to give someone a call.
I'm interested in hearing a second professional opinion. I'm very confident that he will agree with me.
Well, what do we have here today?
Paper money.
Well, these are pretty cool, Rick. These are part of the Wild Wild West theme. They're considered to be America's greatest currency designs of all time. The chief actually was part of the Sioux tribe. However, whomever did the engraving used a Pawnee headdress.
Okay.
Little fun fact there for you. The interesting part about the chief notes, it's unusual to see a consecutive pair. The government will make these in sheets of 4, cut them up, and then put them in packs of hundreds. So it's very unusual to find 2 consecutive.
They're in incredible condition. I mean, those are both graded 65, which is damn near as high as you can get, so.
So I guess you kind of want to know the value?
Yeah, he wants $30,000 total.
Okay. The collectability of the Bison Star is going to be a little on a narrow field.
Okay.
I would put this as a retail value of probably 10 to 11 grand.
Okay.
The chief notes are very collectible, very easy to sell. I would say 99% of collectors want one. So I'd say on a retail level, you're looking right around 14 to 15,000. So you're essentially looking at $25,000 to $26,000.
Thanks,
All
man.
right.
I appreciate it.
See you soon. Take care. Good luck.
Thank
All right. Okay, so you started at 15 on that one, 15 on that one. This right here, I'll go 8,000 on. It might sit for a while. These, on the other hand, I'll be honest with you, they'll sell quick. So take 11,000 for these.
I think we're much closer on the 2 chief notes than we would be on that one.
Well, how much closer are we?
I can do the pair for $12,000. My best is 10.5 for the Bison.
Okay, would you do 8,500 on the star note?
No, I can't.
All right. I'm not gonna buy that one, but I'm gonna buy these for $12,000. Deal?
Deal.
Sweet.
Thank
All right. Grab that. Meet me over there.
All right, thank you.
All right. Pretty money, and I'll make a quick buck.
How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good. What can I help you with?
Well, I got some items that WYATT owned,
Okay.
and I got a book of photographs.
Any of them of WYATT?
Maybe.
Do you mind me asking what you paid?
This I paid $1,000.
You paid $1,000 for a book and you don't know who's in it.
Yeah, pretty stupid, huh? I decided to come to the pawn shop today to sell my items that belong to WYATT, and I have some old pictures of WYATT and Bat Masterson. I don't know how much these items are worth, but I'm here today to find out.
So where did you get all this stuff?
Okay, I got this book of photographs from the internet.
Like an online auction or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I got this WYATT memorabilia from John Gilchrist.
Who's John Gilchrist?
When WYATT died, he passed all his things down to best friend John Flood. Then when Flood died, he passed them down to John Gilchrist. Gilchrist was the one that found the gravesite of Josephine Earp and Wyatt Earp.
Was it missing at one point?
I don't think anybody really knew where it was.
And this looks like a blank stock certificate from Tombstone Consolidated Gold and Silver Mining Company. That's neat.
American Old West icons don't get much bigger than Wyatt Earp. The lawman of Dodge City and Tombstone is best known for his showdown at the OK Corral. Anything associated with Wyatt Earp is worth a lot of money.
You have some interesting photos here. I mean, there's some great tintypes in here. Back in the day, when you develop a photograph, it's got some pretty nasty, terrible chemicals, and it would destroy paper. So they would put them on a piece of tin. It could handle all the different chemicals and everything else they were using.
I've been told that one of these is of Wyatt Earp and one is of Bat Masterson, but I don't know for sure.
That looks like a U.S. Marshal's badge.
Bat Masterson was a notorious lawman that served right beside Wyatt Earp in Dodge City. If these are real pictures of two of the biggest legends of the Old West, they're going to be worth a ton.
Some of these tintypes are in incredible condition. I have a friend that's coming down later today. Old West stuff, he knows everything there is to know about it. If he can come back, we'll get all this checked out when he's here.
Okay, sounds good. I'm looking forward to have an expert come in and look at my items to tell me what the value is and maybe tell me a little bit of the history.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm Mark. I'm the administrator of the Clark County Museum. So what do we have here today?
He's got two pictures in here. He thinks one might be Wyatt Earp and one that might be Bat Masterson.
Okay.
And he also claims he's got some stuff that was owned by Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp's one of those iconographic figures out of the Old West that ended up defining how we view the Old West. To find a new original photograph of somebody like Wyatt Earp or Bat Masterson, it'd make headlines. I've seen a number of images of Bat Masterson. He was widely photographed. It's a very nice tintype of a Western lawman. Bat Masterson, no. This does not look like it, and the eyebrows aren't right. The ears aren't right.
Okay.
In terms of this image, you don't often see three men sitting there with shotguns. This one is a very nice 1880s image, but not Wyatt Earp.
Okay.
A lot of people get these types of photographs and they want to believe that there's somebody famous, and they're not. There is only one Wyatt Earp and only one Bat Masterson. It's very hard to prove whether a particular piece was in fact owned by somebody famous. Even if it was owned by Wyatt Earp, it's still a brochure from a hotel. It's just a printed piece of paper. What do we have here?
This is a letter from Josephine Earp to John Flood in 1931.
Well, now that would be interesting. John Flood was Wyatt Earp's personal secretary in the early 1920s. And the time is right. It's an original envelope. It's a personal piece from his widow to his private secretary 2 years after his death. The most interesting piece is what appears to be an original Josephine Earp letter. John Flood was still friends with Josephine Earp, and it would tie directly back into this iconographic figure. My difficulty is I've never seen any of Josephine Earp's writings. You'd have to have somebody who knows the handwriting to be able to authenticate it.
All right, you're the best.
Thank you.
All right, so we generally have an idea of what we got here now. This one's full of tintypes. My problem is I've always had a really hard time selling them. I swear I can't give the damn things away. So there's nothing I could really do with that. This one over here is really interesting as far as a historical perspective. As far as a collectible perspective, really, really tough.
So what are you telling me? You gonna make an offer on anything?
Nothing. I mean, there's just nothing I could do. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing them in.
Hey, thanks for looking at them.
No problem.
I'm disappointed that we didn't make a deal. It would have been nice to have some extra money.
Hi, guy. What you got?
I have a John Wayne hat.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the hats used in one of his movies.
Are you a fan of John Wayne? Yeah, John Wayne was a great actor. He made so many movies that I really couldn't say which one I like best.
My favorite one is when he played a cowboy and he rode around on a horse and shot people, and he had a cowboy hat.
Chumley, he probably starred in 100 Western movies.
Yeah, but my favorite one was that particular one.
Shut up, Chumley.
I decided to come to the pawn shop today to sell my John Wayne movie hat. The hat that I have, I believe, was worn by John Wayne in one of two movies, either Rio Grande or Rio Lobo. Looking to get probably about $1,200 or so for it.
And where did you acquire this at?
From a Western hat shop in Prescott, Arizona.
Did you get any certification?
The only thing that I have is, it's right inside here. I asked the gentleman at the store where he got it. He said that he was a prop master in the 50s and 60s. And this is one of the things that he held on to.
John Wayne was an American icon. Starting back in the 1920s, he was one of the top movie stars of all time. This is definitely the style hat that he would wear in a Western, called a prop hat. It's made to look like the 1870s, 1880s cavalry hat. It's manner out of Chicago. They made hats for many, many years. But my concern, son, is very simple. You have no paperwork. If this hat was worn by John Wayne in a movie, it could be worth some money. But I don't have much to go on. A tag that says the Duke is not much proof.
I do believe that the hat is real, just based on the conversation with that gentleman.
It'd be much nicer if they had to give you an appraisal when you bought it.
Right.
We have a friend here in town that is a prop master. If you don't mind, I'd like to call him in to look at this.
That'd be fine. I am looking forward to the expert coming in to look at the hat. I feel like the hat will stand on its own.
How you doing, guys? My name is Mark, and I have a company here in Las Vegas called Western Stage Props, and we specialize in selling props to the movies.
This is supposedly a hat that's worn in the movies by the Duke.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, I purchased this hat from a shop in Prescott, Arizona. This was labeled as John Wayne's hat, either from Rio Grande or Rio Lobo.
Rio Grande and Rio Lobo are 20 years apart. Rio Grande was made in 1950 in black and white. John Wayne wore a light-colored hat, so his hat probably was not in Rio Grande. When you get to Rio Lobo, he wore 3 different hats. First, he was a Northern military officer wearing a dark blue hat. And the brocade on the front here, or the tassels, were in a dark color. And in all the hats that were in that movie, none of them had these vent holes on the side.
Okay.
One of the red flags I see is that it's listed in here as 7 1/8. John Wayne's hat size was larger than this.
What about the tag from the wardrobe department?
You could write a dozen of these up and put them in a dozen hats. It doesn't make any difference. You can't purchase something on the legend. You got to have some facts behind it.
The only thing I can go by is the conversation I had with the gentleman back then.
The thing is, we have to have some documentation. This is very important. The chain of ownership is the key to the value of it. Other than that, it's just a used hat.
I appreciate you bringing it in. It's a very interesting piece, but where it came from, that's the big $64 question. After talking to Mark, I'm 90% certain this ain't Duke's hat, it wasn't a prop, and that guy at that store lied to you.
Okay, well, I appreciate you looking at it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Their stand is there's no way to authenticate it. It could have been a hat that perhaps Duke didn't like himself, and so he switched to another hat.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What do we got here?
We got a autograph poster of the last 5 singing Cowboys.
Last of the Singing Cowboys. So we got Eddie Dean, Monty Hall, Gene Autry, Roy Rogers, and Rex Allen.
Right.
This is a bunch of old guys I know nothing about. Do you mind if I call in my designated old guy over here?
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Pops.
What's up?
I don't know who Monty Hall is or...
Monty Hale, that is right there. Not Monty Hall.
Okay.
Monty Hall was on Let's Make a Deal.
I'm looking to sell my poster of the last of the singing Cowboys. I'm a big Western movie fan, and with the 4 signatures on it, I really had to have it. I've had this for 15 years, and I think it's time to let it go and let someone else admire it. I'm hoping to get $500 for this poster.
This is pretty cool. The last of the singing Cowboys. Back in the 30s and the 40s, Westerns were really, really huge. They were really inexpensive to shoot. I mean, usually movies only ran 1 or 2 weeks. So the budgets were really low. They had ongoing sets just for Westerns that they were using 7 days a week, and they were a steady revenue stream. And basically the genre was good guys versus the bad guys.
The bad guys wore the black hats, the good guys wore the white hats, right?
Yeah, I mean, super cheesy, and these guys would always sing in the movies. And they became very popular. So the two biggest ones we have here is Gene Autry and Roy Rogers. Gene Autry was a very famous cowboy star. He was still doing movies well into the 70s and 80s, I'm pretty sure. Roy Rogers, on the other hand, super clean-cut image, and he ended up making a fortune off it in the 1950s.
I thought Roy Rogers was a drink.
It is. That became really, really popular. I don't know when. I'm assuming the 40s or the 50s. Even when I was a kid, my parents would take us to a restaurant, and I would order a Roy Rogers. How about you?
Yeah.
So you got something cool here. What do you want to do with it? You want to sell it, or?
I'll sell it.
How much you looking for?
500.
Okay, when you bought this, were all these autographs on here?
Yes.
Okay, if you can wait for a little bit, Steve Grad, a friend of mine, will come down, he'll look at the autographs, he'll see if they're real, we'll get a price, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll give Steve a call, see if he can hurry up.
All right. Hey, guys.
What's happening, Rick? How are you?
Good. So we have the Singing Cowboys.
Nice.
What is in the glass right there?
It's a Roy Rogers.
Where'd you get it?
Your bar.
You will return the glass.
Nope. So, Steve, we got the singing cowboy thing.
Nice.
Don't know what it's worth. He wants $500 for it.
Well, obviously, Roy Rogers was probably the most famous longtime singing cowboy. He's really a legend. Gene Autry, too. The great thing about Gene Autry is he was a great businessman. He loved baseball. He ended up owning the Angels for many years, and he was a big part of the franchise. Matter of fact, they retired number 26 in honor of him. The other guys that made it up were singing cowboys, but they were in a lot of B movies.
Okay. Are the signatures real?
I'll take a look, Rick, and see what we got here. Obviously, Sharpie, same here, and same here. So even under the glass, I can tell you that it's live signatures. The two prominent signatures on here, Gene Autry, usually had a pretty consistent signature led by the big G, the big A. He would cross the T just like that. Roy Rogers is the other one. This guy had a great signature, Rick. Signed every letter, as you could see. This guy's all signed nice. So, signatures are all genuine.
Okay.
The one thing I did notice, though, it looks like the ink's faded a little bit.
I had it hanging on the wall for 15 years.
Okay, so that'll do that. And even a little bit of light can affect signatures, so that does happen. It still presents very nicely, but you could tell they're a little damaged due to lighting.
Okay. So, how much would something like this go for?
You've got all five together. It's a nice piece. But the problem is that if you ask some of the younger generation collectors if they knew who these guys were, a lot of people would be hard-pressed. So, you know, ballpark on something like this, I'd put the value right at about $350.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, man.
Good to see you. Take care.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, man.
So, he was saying it's worth right around $350. Would you take 200?
How about 2 1/4?
Yeah, I can do 2 1/4.
All right.
Corey, can you go write them up?
I gotta get a refill.
Give me a few minutes and I'll get all your paperwork done, okay? Just stay right there. Yeah, I can be a cowboy, but a singing cowboy, I just can't do the singing thing. Corey, give me one of those drinks, too.
You got a photo here of Doc Holliday? It's the only photograph in the world of him as a dentist.
Grandpa, come here. It's got a photo of Doc Holliday as a dentist. Wasn't he your dentist?
No, we want my dentist.
I came today to the pawn shop to sell the only known photograph of Doc Holliday as a dentist. I like the authenticity of it, the period costuming, if you will. I'm hoping to get 30,000, but I would settle for 18.
He had a relatively short career as a dentist.
Yes, he did.
He got tuberculosis. He was living in Atlanta, and he was pretty much making all his patients get tuberculosis.
Exactly.
So,
he couldn't do his practice anymore.
yes, and then they told him, you know what, you'll probably live a lot longer if you go out west because the air's gonna be drier out there. It wasn't necessarily that he was a bad guy or a serial killer, but he kind of lived life knowing that he was gonna die soon.
Right.
He ended up in Tombstone where he became friends with Wyatt Earp. The Earps had a bunch of trouble with a gang called the Texas Cowboys, and they all decided to go meet at the OK Corral. So they have a shootout. The Cowboys ended up killing Wyatt Earp's brother, and Wyatt Earp deputizes Doc Holliday.
Right.
Which is kind of funny to go from a dentist to an outlaw gambler to a lawman.
Exactly.
Doc Holliday is one of the most colorful figures in the Old West. Show me a gun he owned or a hat he wore, and I guarantee I can sell it. But a photo might be a little tricky. You have any idea of what Gary Dunlop did to be able to prove it was Doc Holliday?
Yeah, he had it sent to an expert that took a photo of Doc Holliday and did a facial comparison, and it came back positive.
All right, and how much were you looking to get out of it?
$35,000.
$35,000.
They go for $75,000. I think what brings value to this, they only made 100 of these in the world.
And that's the trouble with photography and prints, is that, you know, they make a certain amount and then they make another edition. To be honest with you, I can't go anywhere near that number.
Throw a number out.
I can offer you about $8,000 for it, but that's gonna be the most I can pay you.
Can you make me a better offer?
Push it to 10, that's top of the mark. I ain't going no higher.
You got 10,000 bucks, man. That's what I can do.
Make it 15 and we got a deal.
No way.
Can't do it.
No, can't do it.
Sorry, man.
All right, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
15.
Sure you won't take 10?
No.
Sorry.
Since we weren't able to come to an agreement, I'm going to go ahead and write letters to various dental offices who might be interested in Doc Holliday as a dentist.
Eureka! There's gold in that there sluice.
Is it sluice or sloosh?
Sluice, tomato, tomato.
I have a 1930s dry gold sluice made in the Depression era. I've kept it as a piece of folk art in my home for about a year or so. Kind of goes with the other Old West style items that I have. I want $1,500, so I'm hoping I can pan Rick for a good deal.
Really cool, I dig it. Where did you get this?
I buy high-end storage units as a side business. I got this in a unit out in Palm Springs.
Sort of makes sense for Palm Springs. You know this is a dry sluice, right?
Dry sluice made to mine where there's no water, using air bellows instead of water.
Exactly. You would shovel dirt onto this, and you just start cranking this, and the dust would fly out, and since gold's really heavy, that would all stay behind. It was back-breaking, insane work. I couldn't do it. Usually they use a wet sluice. You have water, it's way more efficient. But there was always that problem when you were out in the middle of the desert, because there's no water.
Where do you get the water?
Yeah, I mean, you can use it in the sluice, or you can drink it and not die, you know? You've heard of Jason and the Golden Fleece?
Yeah.
That's basically how they started mining for gold like thousands of years ago. They would take a sheep's fleece, they would lay it in a stream, and they'd just start dumping the dirt on it, and the gold would trickle down to the bottom, and the hairs would lock it in, and the dirt would wash out the top. And then they would take the fleece, they would dry it out, and put it in an oven for a few days. The entire fleece would burn away. You would have ash and gold at the bottom of it. That was like the first sluice, and they sort of went from there. Most of them are improvised like this. He probably got this part out of a washing machine or something like that, got the gearing.
Yeah, it's made of different odds and ends, ladders, shingles.
If you're a prospector and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you use what you got.
Whatever you have.
Actually, as far as things like this go, this is an amazing shape. How much you want for it?
Asking around $1,500. I've seen comparable models go that range.
Okay, all right, most likely you've seen them ask that much for that.
Ask that
Okay,
much.
people always say, oh, well, looked on the internet and they're asking. I'm going, yeah, they're asking, they're not kidding. They're difficult to sell. It's tough, they sit for a long time, plain and simple.
Yeah, I get that.
If I sell this, I'd probably get $500, $600 out of it.
Really?
Really. So I'll give you $300 for it.
Can you do around 9?
No. It's time and money. The longer it sits, the less I'm gonna pay.
Are you sure there's not any gold in there?
No, if there was full of gold down there, I'm going, yeah, no problem, dude. I'll give you your money. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you $350. That's the best I can do on it. You know, 20 years ago when the whole Southwest thing was in style, it would have sold like a champ. It's not in style right now. It's gonna be tougher to sell.
I think I'll keep it at that price.
If you change your mind, come back and see me.
I will. Well, thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
In a previous life, I was a 49er.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
What in the hell you got here, son?
I've got 2 dummies that I'm dying to sell.
I got enough of them working for me.
I've decided to come to the pawn shop today to sell my 2 beautiful Western dummies. I had them for years, but I need the money right now. Business is slow, times are rough.
And where in the world did you get these?
Well, I used to do Western shows, you know, and parties and different things, and I decorate with them. Used to sit them on barrels and cactus and stuff like that. They're all hand-painted. The manufacturer has a series of about 144 different heads. You choose your head, you choose the mustache, you choose the look, and they put them together the way you need them.
Well, they're really interesting, and they are cuter than hell. These dummies are used in museums, restaurants, amusement parks. They look good, and they can be worth a lot of money. But there's not too many people coming in looking to buy them.
All the joints work. You can place them any way different, you know, fold their arms, you know. The head turns, you know, 180 degrees. People think they're real. Sometimes if I'm going to a really bad neighborhood, I'll put one in the car, and no one will mess with the car. You know, they'll think there's somebody in it.
Do you ever use them in the carpool lane?
No, but that's a great idea.
I want these dummies, and I think they'll look good in the shop. And that's about all there is to it. If the price is right, we can make a deal. It's just simple as that. How much you want for them, guy? What you trying to do?
Well, I paid about $1,000 for each one of them.
Well, that's not my problem. If you want it, I'll give you $500 for the pair.
That's a little bit lower than I had in mind. I was hoping I can get $350 a piece.
I'm not going to go no higher. I mean...
All right, I need a moment, maybe just to think about it.
Okay, no problem.
All right. I'm going to take the offer.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really had to think about the $500 offer. I paid way more than that. But after thinking about it, I decided to take the offer. I just need the room. I need the money. Although it feels like I'm giving up, you know, really good friends.